Botvinnik's law, knight endings are like pawn endings. Of course, this is no mathematical law, it is just a guideline. Zugzwang also plays a large role as in pawn endings, as the knight is a piece which can easily fall into Zugzwang, or which can, Zugzwang can be used as a weapon against it. The winning margin is relatively high, not as high as in pawn endings of course, but a small advantage or a collection of small advantages can be sufficient to win. For example, this position from Postny Apicella Metz 2009 is won for white to move, despite the very reduced winning potential. Okay, the pawn ending would be won as well, of course, but a rook ending, you guessed it. And other endings must be looked at in more detail, but this knight ending is won for white, despite the reduced winning potential. And an outside passed pawn is a strong trump, like in the pawn ending. Not as strong as in the pawn ending, but still a trump. We will see an example in after this in this clip, after this position in this clip. Yeah, there of course also are some differences. There might be knight forks, knight sacrifices, and this domination fight against the knight cannot be seen against in a pawn ending. But okay, yeah. It is just a guideline, of course. So, king e3. Yeah, here king f5 would be more tenacious. You can see my analysis, but I don't think that the result has changed. White is winning in any case here, and Postny was up to the task. First, next he regroups his knight to a very good position. And it is also important that black cannot go into pawn endings. Yeah, here h4 might be better, but it doesn't change the result, of course. It doesn't change the result. White is winning here in the long run. Yeah. Very good piece coordination. Knight check shadow. Yeah, somehow for black it just doesn't work. Regrouping the knight to an even better position. There are many more lines, but no salvation for black. And some part of this knight regrouping or domination fight, they cannot be seen in pawn endings of course. Somewhere the similarity ends, of course. But here it makes still, Botvinnik's law still makes a lot of sense, I think, to help you to evaluate the position at hand and then to work out the details by concrete analysis, if needed. Yeah, but usually such positions, if the defender can't find a very good concrete role for the knight often wants this concrete role, something that is clear what it does or what it wants to achieve in the near future. If there are no perspectives like here, if black's knight has no real role, then this is often a very bad sign for the defender. A nightmare for the knight. Yeah, okay, so Apicella played knight e6, but after h4, it's really a very good position for white. And in a winning position as well. Especially, the role of the kings also is a lot in white's favor. Knight check shadow. Yeah. Postny really does a good job restricting black, and here he has walked with his king into the heart of black's position in the knight check. The knight is in the knight check, the king is in the knight check shadow, and it must be winning, and indeed it is. Yeah, the pawn ending, of course, would be. Yeah, in some way in the pawn endings, all these things would be easier, of course. But here it is more difficult, but the result is the same. The attacker white does win. Finally, Apicella resigned. So now one example that an outside pass pawn is a strong trump. Bu Jiangxi, Hu Jifan, Dang Zhu, 2011, white to move and win. Okay, the pawn ending would be directly winning without any calculation needed, but here in the knight ending, it's also winning, but more difficult, more, yeah, some before going into this, when you have some choice before, you shouldn't conclude that you are winning always, but you should invest some concrete calculation that this really does win, and only then go into this, simplify into this position. Do some calculation here. b6 is the right move. King g5 would be a mistake. And what now? King takes g6? Or something else? Yeah, king takes g6 is bad. The attacker doesn't exchange attacking potential. Here the side with material ahead or with playing for a win wants to preserve its very valuable winning potential. And here, of course, winning potential is exchanged, and now it's a draw. This would be a technical mistake. No, prophylaxis first. Bu Jiangxi directed his knight to e2, and now all his potential on the king side is preserved, and then he will win the pawn g6 first and the game later. And the outside passed pawn has done its job. It has deflected the defending king like in the pawn endgame. So yeah, it is indeed very similar to pawn endings, but more complicated due to the presence of the knight. And Hu Jifan resigned, as she will also lose the h5 pawn, and then white's connected passed pawns will decide the day in white's favor. So, Botvinnik's law is knight endings are like pawn endings. And I think it is good, but with many of the guidelines, it is more important. It is the only one step to know it and to learn it by heart or whatever, and then to repeat it every morning in front of the mirror. That, yeah, it's not really what it's about. You must also develop an intuition for which positions the guideline can be used and which can be evaluated quickly and correctly, and when concrete calculation is needed, and when there might be exceptions to the guideline. And here it was correct, but Bu Jiangxi had to act precisely to win.